Find angle measures with special reference angles. Let's find all values of theta if theta is in the interval 0 to 360 degrees and the sine of theta is square roots of 3 over 2. There's a couple of things to notice right away. First, the square roots of 3 over 2 should say, hey, I think we have a 30, 60, 90 here. Because with 30, opposite side is 1, long side is radical 3, hypotenuse is 2. So that's one thing we can think about. The other is that we are looking at the interval of the entire, all four quadrants. This sign is positive. So if I think about it, where is the sign positive? In quadrants 1 and in quadrants 2. So these are the only areas we're thinking of. Right. So if I want sine, sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse, which angle has an opposite of radical 3? 60. So that means theta is 60 degrees. Okay, well that's easy enough in quadrant 1. So theta being 60 degrees is one answer. But we also have to consider quadrant 2, where the reference angle is 60. So if this is 180 degrees, and I'm going to go up by 60 reference angles, that means at 120 degrees, I also have a reference of 60. So theta could be 60 degrees, or theta could be 120 degrees. Let's do one more. Find all values of theta if theta is in the interval 0 to 180 degrees, and if the secant, that is really poorly drawn there, if the secant of theta is -2. Now, I'll be honest with you, my brain doesn't always work so well when I'm talking secant, cosecant, cotangent. I know that it's the reciprocal of their friend, but in my head, their friends just play better. So my first thought is secant is friend to the cosine, and if I flip it, I get -1/2. That just makes my life easier. So now again, I'm thinking, okay, there's no radical 2. That means this is not a 45. So again, I'm dealing with a 30, 60, 90, a 1, radical 3, and a 2. Okay, so that's one thing I'm thinking about. And then also, we don't care at all about quadrants 3 and 4. We're only concerned on the interval 0 to 180. And the cosine, secant, the friends, are negative. So where is cosine negative? Well, quadrant 2. So I am only looking for a value in quadrant 2. That is the only one I care about, because cosine in quadrant 1 is positive. Okay, so now I think back to my 30, 60, 90 triangle. We know that the cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So here's my value of 1. Which angle is adjacent to that? Well, our friend 60. So once again, our theta, our reference angle is 60 degrees. If I want that to be in quadrant 2, once again, 180 minus 60 gives me a final answer that theta can only be 120. 60, again, is just the reference angle. Because cosine is negative and because we're only on the interval 0 to 180, the only possible answer is 120 degrees.